AJ, I mean, like, are the kids different now? Or like, what's going on?
Man, I'll tell you what, the kids got money.
Yeah, this is our jam.
What's going on, everybody? We are back with another episode of the Tune In to Dillon podcast. Me and Will are suited and booted today, and because we got a very special guest, former college baseball player turned entrepreneur, big in the NIL space, works with a ton of high-profile athletes across the NCAA. Ian Johnson, thanks for being here. Thanks for chatting with us.
Appreciate y'all for having me on. Appreciate the opportunity to come and talk about our space. I know it's a little bit different than the NFL, but appreciate the opportunity.
It's definitely an interesting space, so especially in the sports universe. But let's start off. Where were you? You were a professional athlete, so you played professional baseball, correct?
No, I just played in college.
You just played in college, okay.
I ended up playing in college. Really played baseball my whole life. Started out, at East Cobb in Atlanta. Played travel ball out there, and ended up getting some opportunities to go play in college. So I moved around a little bit, but ended up playing for 3 different schools, and ended up getting hurt my last year, and fell in love with the game, wanted to stay in the game, and that's kind of what led me into the agent path, I would say. Went to do MLB representation for 2.5 years before I jumped into this NIL space. Being on, I think, all sides of baseball, whether it's playing, coaching, and then representing it, I think I kind of got burnt out. I just did it my whole life, and, it was almost more of a grind at that point, and wanted to try something new and kind of, bet on myself, create an opportunity and do the things the right way. So ended up starting NIL Ace in 2020, really the cusp of the NIL space. And that's really where, in June of that year, it kind of opened up, and they passed laws where, name, image, and likeness can happen for, college athletes. So that's kind of what led into what we do now, which is NIL Ace.
Nice.
Yeah, man, I love it. I love hearing about this for the listeners who've been on from the jump. Will and I are always talking, NIL, is it good, is it bad, or what we think about this, or how much this should be worth, etc. I missed NIL. I came out of college and got to the league before NIL was there. So I always root for the guys to get paid, but then on the back of my mind, I'm like, man, cut me a check.
Yeah, same here, man.
cut me a check. But no, I appreciate it. I think this will be a lot of fun. Especially, no matter what level you're playing at. Like Will played college ball. Shout out St. Thomas. Some football, and like college athletes, to get to that level, man, it's tough. It's a grind no matter what. And I'm always interested. I got some guys I played with who, hung them up. How was that transition? You said you're betting on yourself. How is that transition from like athlete to CEO, and like just taking that leap?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it was tough, man. I mean, all I'd done for, most of my adult life was play baseball, in early ages, really held on to that piece. And I think the hard work that I put in at a young age kind of helped me form into what we have now. Just not giving up. There were times where, we thought this wasn't going to work. We had tried with various different athletes. We should try with baseball in the beginning. And at that time, it just wasn't working. And, I didn't give up. That was the biggest thing I would say, in starting this company. I struggled, and, Rome's not built overnight. And I kept telling myself that. And, I was raised, if I do the right thing, good things will happen. And so I just continued to do the right thing and started recruiting better clientele and really looking more on the inside of not only their athletic capability, but what type of person they are. Because I'm a people person. You kind of have to be in this space.
I love it.
So, and I'm young. I'm 27, so a lot of guys can relate with me.
That is young.
Let's go.
That is young for everyone. All 27.
Yeah, that's great. So 1997. I'm
98.
Ooh, I'm not that 27.
I'm the old guy here.
I'm
now.
a new 27.
You chill out on the 97 talk, man.
But yeah, we jumped into this space, man, and it was really just being able to build these relationships with guys, and understand, like, hey, I played in college. I understand how much work it takes to get to this point. I wish there was someone there to help me when I was going through it, to give me advice and maybe just someone outside of being a parent. So it's cool to give these kids advice and really, put them in the best situations to get to that goal of going pro. I think since we've been in football, we've had, I want to say, 6 to 7 guys drafted every single year.
Wow, it's phenomenal.
So we've had a really good track record. We don't do NFL representation. We typically, we'll hand those guys off to agents that I know or, friends of mine. But, getting them to that spot, man. And there's a lot of things that go on during this space, like the transfer portal. Imagine if you guys had 2 free agent windows. That's what it's like in college right now.
That's wild.
Yeah, that is wild. I got so many questions.
Yeah, man.
Stuff not even on the script. I love this. I could talk about this all day. Like when does the process start? You said you like to find people who are genuine beyond and more than just the athletes. So for you, I'm sure every case is different, but generally speaking, when does kind of the process, somebody's on your radar, you're going to reach out and kind of build that relationship, represent them, et cetera? When does that start?
I would say it starts, it really depends on the position. I'll start with that. It depends on the position for us. Quarterbacks, we go junior year of high school. A lot of the 4-star quarterbacks that we work with junior year of high school, we get on early because that's what a lot of the other agencies do in this space. They get on early. So I would say for that position, junior year of high school. Everyone else, for the most part, I would say heading into senior year. And then we also have the junior college guys. So I was a JUCO guy, so I've got a lot of respect for guys that go to JUCO and understand that mental toughness and grind, because it's a grind. JUCO is you're there to get better, develop, and then go to a better program. So we've got a lot of JUCO guys we bring in, and I like the JUCO guys because they're put together. You know what I'm saying? They've been through it for 2 years almost, sometimes 3. They understand, what it takes to get to that level. And I've got a special place just because I was a JUCO guy.
Yeah.
So they're easy to resonate with. And, you come from not a lot of facilities and, opportunities in JUCO, and then you come out and change.
They've kind of been humbled through the process,
Right.
and they understand that, the hard work is going to have to happen. And they
100%.
you come to terms with that. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So hopefully that kind of answers that. It's early. It's junior year in high school, seniors. Sometimes we get reached out to by 16-year-old kids. But we're looking for guys who got the right mentality, and can really put their head down and work hard, because we want guys that are going to do the right things, like what I always say, just kind of how I was raised. If you do the right thing, good things will happen. So that's kind of our motto when we recruit guys. Hey, is this kid going to cause problems or not? And, you don't know every time, but that's what we look for.
It's the entire area has shifted so much. I mean, AJ, are you seeing it with rookies coming in? Because people are coming in with completely new backgrounds. Like for us, all of us, it was go to college, and I kind of acted more of a kid than somebody who had to deal with big decisions at 16 years old in some cases. AJ, I mean, are the kids different now? Or what's going on?
Man, I'll tell you what, the kids got money.
Yes, they do.
Forget the. So I don't know. I probably haven't asked the younger guys enough questions about who their NIL guy was in college to know, what tutelage, which I really like, because I feel like most people have the impression that NIL agents are just glorified marketing agents. They're just going to get you deal, and they're going to take all your money. So, that is, and I'm sure how everybody else perceives it, Right. So I probably should, I'm going to go in there tomorrow and be like, hey bro, have you heard about NIL Ace?
Yeah.
But in all honesty, I think it's just so crazy to me. I'm not going to put anybody on blast, but last year or this year, I'm talking to guys and I'm like, dang, like that's a nice car, brother. Or like they're coming in with all designer down with the bag, bro. Like I was hurting for an Uber in college. Like if I Uber,
bro, you're telling me, man, Shoelace Express,
bro. If we Ubered somewhere, if we Ubered into Boston, because Boston College is not actually into Boston, like I'm hunting my boys down. Like we're splitting that on the back end, and so it's not hating. I love it. It's funny, but definitely a difference for sure. Especially these last couple of years, it's really started to roll. It's like everybody comes in and like, oh, how much are we making during OTAs? Psh, that's nothing.
Right.
Crazy. How does it shape the? Yeah, sorry, just kind of rolling to the next question here. Like, how has it shaped college football? Like, that's what everyone's biggest concern was with NIL. And obviously, you have rookies coming in who already have money, already have made business decisions, personally for themselves, whether it's a marketing deal or sign a contract with a, university or team. How has it shaped like the overall culture change from when you were in college and your experience compared to what you're dealing with day in and day out?
So that's a really good question. I look at it two different ways. So it's kind of not changed, I would say. Obviously, there is money involved, but the way I look at it is, there's different tiers to college football, right? Just like there is in every sport. And there's no knock on, the FCS programs and programs that are mid-major, but they haven't been able to compete for the last 20 years. I mean, if you're getting offered from, Alabama, let's say, in 2005, and you got UAB offering you, where do you think guys are going to go? They're going to go to the top, right? So the difference is obviously it comes with money now. I don't think that's much of a change, though. I mean, obviously there's, life-changing opportunities, but I think from a recruiting standpoint, I don't think that's really changed a whole lot, just because the bigger programs have always been there. They've always been the elephant in the room. Now they come with money. And I think that's where it gets really competitive at the SEC level, Big Ten, ACC, really all Power 5 or Power 4. Basically, it's just a bidding war. And that's what I'm seeing kind of going into really a lot of what we do, which is contract negotiation in the transfer world. So basically, it's NFL free agency.
Yeah, and mid-major is like JUCO now. It's kind of
mid-major is like JUCO. Now you'll find a handful that are solid. Teams in the American Conference, like I would mention Memphis, FAU. Some of those schools solid. Tulane. Another one I would say is Boise State. Obviously, Ashton Jeanty, that whole train that happened this past year. So there are good mid-major programs. Don't get me wrong, and I don't think there's an issue with guys going there whatsoever. I mean, if you're trying to go to the next level, my biggest thing with our guys is you got to play. And, I think that's what we do different than other agencies. Other agencies can prioritize how much money they're going to pay you. I'm going to prioritize getting you on the field. I'd much rather you go somewhere and play, let's say you're a defensive guy and you're going to play 3 or 4, downs. I'd much rather you go there and play and have an opportunity to be seen than go to, a big program, get paid a lot of money, and you might play, 2 games a year.
That makes sense, man. No, I like it, bro. The morals are there. I can tell you your passion, and let's talk more about that. I'm sure we'll get back to it, but let's talk about NIL Ace. You're the CEO. You started it. What we see the sign behind you. How did you NIL obviously, but Ace? What about Ace?
So it's kind of a funny story. My dad and I are huge Top Gun gurus. We love Top Gun. Obviously, Tom Cruise. And we also love, we're big on playing cards. My dad always played cards growing up, and our favorite game is Crazy Eights. I don't know if y'all have ever played Crazy Eights, but we love playing Crazy Eights. And, I think the fact that we played a lot of cards and we started it together. I mean, my dad and I really started this in 2020, family run, family owned, and did it together. But we came up with Ace just because we liked Ace of Spades. And we liked Top Gun. That was kind of cool, catchy, and obviously NIL is explanatory, but the Ace part's kind of what our add-on was.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds good. It rolls. I like it. We got to talk about Top Gun though. What's your favorite movie? Which one's the best? Can't got to
Man,
get
that's a
one
tough
definitive
I'm
definitive
gonna
answer.
say the OG, just because I mean that's what brought it in. And the OG really just brought in that whole Tom Cruise, Val Kilmer, you know, whole side to it, and I loved it, man. I really did. It's crazy. One of the reasons we used to watch it, I had bad asthma growing up as a kid, and my dad got me a helmet because I would have really bad asthma, and I had an oxygen mask that was like a fighter pilot. So whenever I would have a bad asthma, experience, and I dealt with it for years as a kid, I would put the helmet on, put the mask on, act like I was in the cockpit when I'm getting the oxygen because I couldn't breathe. So
that's dope, man.
That's cool. That's cool, man.
Awesome move by your dad.
That goes
too.
hard.
Like, that's great.
Pretty cool way to use a nebulizer, right?
My boy, you had the best dreams ever.
Oh, I'm sure. Some of them were scary, though. I mean, I don't think I would, to be honest with you, I would not get at a fighter pilot right now.
Oh,
okay.
You couldn't pay me enough. No way.
hey, have you guys seen those jets now that the military has that they can
Yeah, the
hover
F-35.
and land
Yeah,
straight down?
F-35. Yep. So right here in Tampa, where I live, there's a big dealer, special operations. Man,
They're just flying around.
dude, they're flying around. Blackbirds are here. So one of my good friends is special forces here, and he does cybersecurity. And I get to go play golf on the base. So you get to see all sorts of crazy, fighter pilot planes and.
Blame your bad shot on the plane.
Oh man, there are a lot of bad shots out there. So I don't think it's the planes.
Bro, I'm going to Long Island to play golf this weekend, and I've been coaching myself up. I tried to do a couple lessons, man, and the shot just wasn't getting better. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna self-teach, and I'm gonna go to the golf simulator. And I know it's driving everybody who's tried to help me crazy, including Will, my father.
I'm not that much of it's more of the father-in-law. It's not so much me.
I know, like every time I'm posting a video, I'm like, look at me, I'm getting my swing right. I hit it straight on the simulator. I know in his mind, he's like, that's not. That's not.
You could have chunk it. You could have chunk it.
Not teaching you. I love it. It's great how the grass is always perfectly even on that thing. It's fantastic.
It's nice.
It's real world.
There's
It's
no
real
bad
world for
lies.
sure.
It makes golf a little bit more fun.
So your crazy stories, being on the base, all this. What's your craziest NIL deal? Like, have you hit one? All right, two. I got two questions. Craziest, like biggest, but then like your most fun, like, or maybe they're the same thing.
I would say most fun deal I think we had was wide receiver of mine a couple years ago was at TCU. His name was Jalen Robinson. He was a big guy coming out of UCF. Played at Ole Miss. Went to TCU for his last year. He's a local kid, Fort Worth area. And this is really kind of a two-part because it's crazy at the same time. I ended up getting him an endorsement deal with the largest Dodge dealership in Texas at the time. Little did I know, the owner of the dealership is Roger Williams, the state senator of Texas. And it gets crazier. So we go to their house after he did an endorsement deal with them. Actually got a 2020. Yeah, 2020 purple Hellcat SRT wide body for free. And he was getting paid to drive it and endorse the dealership. So we would do like appearances where we'd have local fans from TCU come in. Sold a lot of cars. A lot of people came in to see Jalen and to work with them. And they were great people. We still work with them. But we went to their house. I went to Fort Worth for the Colorado TCU game. I was on the sidelines when Prime and
That game was
they
crazy.
rolled in. Craziest game ever. I represented two guys on that team, Chandler Morris, who's their quarterback at that time, and then Jalen Robinson. And then Savion, who's up there with y'all in Green Bay now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was at that game, kind of went through the whole nine, and we went to their house, and they live in Weatherford, Texas, and it's like this compact. And I'm not expecting any of this, When I was at TCU, I didn't really think about it, but I was like, why does the baseball stadium say Williams? Why is the last name
Oh wow.
Williams? So we go to their compound, their house. It's in Weatherford, and he's got a batting cage. This guy's 77 years old, and started hitting balls in the batting cage. State Center of Texas. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah,
to do
hey.
a little car endorsement deal, and
That's
get to come
a
out here and
story
do all
right there.
this. And it was I would say that was the craziest and coolest one.
Yeah.
From the endorsement side.
Hey man, I left college early. I left in 3. I still got a year eligibility. I know the transfer portal, you're just allowed to transfer wherever now. You think I come back in one more year? I'm gonna go to TCU. Let me. I'll go to TCU.
I mean, we can do a lot, man.
Hey, we can make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, there'd be a lot of opportunity for you to go back anywhere you want.
That'd be hilarious.
What is that? That's not even legal,
No,
though,
you
right?
can't.
I was gonna say.
No,
Because that'd be.
you
I mean, like,
go
no, but like,
go
if you think
back.
about it, though, like, some guys who are like, kind of tail end of their career, and they're like,
Yeah.
you know what? I think I'm gonna go back to the alma mater for a year, and then
Just going crazy.
Right?
yeah, bro, just
especially
throwing
with
kids. That's
Opportunity now, it's endless.
Too funny.
You know what? So getting started in this, I feel like it's tough. It was probably difficult to really jump into it. You were kind of there's a lot of competition because it was
Right.
the Wild West in business. Nobody really knew the official guidelines to it, and all of these kids are getting DMs from everybody. That's what everybody was afraid of. Was, hey, are these kids going to make bad deals and all that stuff? What kind of getting that first prospect or that first deal done, was that'd be probably the most pivotal part of it, but also what won you that first prospect? That's what I'm curious about.
So really, first guy I signed was Jalen Robinson. Called him Flash. He actually plays in the arena football right now in San Antonio. Got him there. And anyway, so Flash is our first football guy. I'd had plenty of baseball clients up to this point. Represented a lot of guys who were in the minors. A lot of friends of mine who played, out in East Cobb with me. So I had relationships with a lot of the baseball guys. So football was foreign to me. I mean, I was 130 pounds soaking wet sophomore year of high school. So, not a football guy. I could throw it a long way, but, just not a football guy. And really, fell in love with watching the game. I used to play fantasy football. That was my big thing back in the day. I'm sure you guys do the same, or you're allowed to. But that kind of led me into it. And I got Jalen. And Jalen, I think the biggest thing for me is how the communication. I was a young 23-year-old, just fresh out of an agency, trying to start my own thing. And I was really, sticky. That's one thing that I'll say about me. I'm really sticky with a lot of my clients. We build this relationship because we're in this together. It's not, hey, I'm going to get you this deal and then I'm gone. I'm here for you now and whenever you need me. So that was the thing with Jalen. And I think being able to produce that car deal pretty quick in our, relationship helped me kind of propel forward. Because at that time, there were not a lot of people doing endorsement deals in the NIL space. And this is fresh 2021. I mean, we're right in the middle of it. And there's not a lot of endorsement opportunities happening. And, I facilitated this local deal. And, I had kids, pretty much every kid on that TCU team was texting me that next day.
Yeah.
He's supposed to practice. He's in a Hellcat, and
Yeah.
so,
I like that
kind of
describing
led
word
that.
is sticky. That's being there at all times. I like that.
right.
That's insane, Will.
don't think it's
I
insane.
definitely understand what you're saying, Ian, but you're wild, Will.
That is though.
I really like that word.
I like that. Hey, whatever, brother. Whatever.
I love that
Oh,
word.
man.
Crazy, insane. But that is funny. So right now, how many guys do you have in NIL Ace? Are you guys currently working with?
In NIL Ace, I want to say, because here's the whole thing. We just started basketball. Started
Okay.
basketball in, I would say, December.
Wow.
Really just to prepare for this window that happened in April, which was nuts. I mean, you're talking 3,500 kids in one window.
Sheesh.
And we started that. We had 13 basketball clients. Everyone signed on their deal. But in total, I'd say we've got around 40 clientele total. A couple of female athletes. I 2 women's basketball players at Miami, and then I've got another one that is out at Oregon. So I've got a couple of females. We thought that was imperative to bring that in, but mainly football. Really just started basketball here recently, and I don't know a ton about it. One of my good friends played in college, and he runs kind of that side of the business now. But yeah, man, I'm the football guy, and I'm here to help in any way I can with our basketball players.
For sure. What sport do you think is next to blow up? Do you think could be like off the wall, like obviously the major sports, but do you think there's something, or people are preparing for a sport or NIL space to really?
I would say women's softball is going to explode.
Oh wow.
Women's softball is going to explode. There was a girl, and y'all probably saw this. There was a girl, and she got paid from Stanford to go to Texas Tech. I believe it's about $1 million a year for her to go play college softball. And softball has gradually gotten bigger and bigger over the years. And I just look at the ratings from the tournaments. So like right now and heading into this week, you've got the softball College World Series. And I believe it was last year, maybe 2 years ago. I think there were more viewers for the women's than there were for the men's. So I think college softball is on the rise. I would say women's basketball is already there. You've got women basketball players who are making really good money. And if you're attractive and likable, you'll be able to do endorsements left and right. That's the one thing that I think is different on the female side. There's more opportunity, way more. You can work with different kind of brands, different opportunities. And I think from an endorsement standpoint, the women kind of have an edge.
Yeah, you can do a lot of clothing and
exactly makeup, lipstick, the whole nine. I mean, stuff that I don't know, but my team does a very good job at going through that.
How many team members do you have? I know you and your dad started. You mentioned your friend.
So my dad and I started, but the way that I built my agency was very similar to how pro agencies work. I brought in a full wealth management firm based in Atlanta. So and that was big for us because my biggest thing was not only securing their money, but at the same time educating them. So a lot of these kids, man, they have no earthly idea about taxes, some of the things that go in and just investing properly. So we brought in a full wealth management firm that not only does, wealth preservation and management, but they do education, which I thought was really cool, because these guys get an opportunity to hop on a Zoom with our team and kind of go through the wealth management side. So by the time they make it to your, level and they're in the NFL, they know what's going on, which I think is really important.
Yeah.
Get it now. By the time you go pro, it's secondhand nature to you.
For sure. I think it's really cool hearing you talk about it. Obviously, I know I've mentioned it a couple of times. I wasn't around for that NIL space, so I've just seen it from the outside and kind of seen, like Will mentioned, people coming into the league with experiencing NIL. And so it's cool to hear you talk about it because I can imagine myself trying to listen to a pitch. You get the agent pitches, when you're junior, senior, sophomore in college. But I can imagine the pitch coming out of high school, looking at different places to go and thinking about NIL. I was going to ask, what do you think not makes people sign with you, but like what separates NIL Ace from other agencies in your mind?
I think there's a couple of things. One thing is my age. I think a lot of guys see me and they're like, oh, he's 27. He seems pretty cool. I'd like to maybe talk to him. And that's, a plus for us. Me being young, me understanding not only the game aspect, but the, social media, side as well. There's a lot of different agents, I would say, and there's no knock on them. They're just older. They've been in the space for a long time. And, that's one thing. The second thing is we prioritize what our athletes want. I don't think the way that I operate, and really this is how I think it should be done, they're the ones who are playing. They decide where they go. We're going to give you advice. We're going to steer you in the right direction. But at the end of the day, you and your family are going to make that decision because you're the one who's going to play there. I'm not playing there. Mom's not playing there. Dad's not playing there. it's up to you. And that really happens with a lot of our high school kids. And I think that's a big plus for us. Like, we're not steering guys in the direction for money. I mean, yes, we are a business.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we know that's going to come down the road. If you're a good enough player and you're willing to bet on yourself, that's going to come at some point. So I'd much rather prioritize you being on the field, you having an opportunity to play, than going somewhere for a lot of money and you might play a little bit.
Do you think where do you think the landscape of NIL and just the NCAA is changing the most? Like, I feel like people throw out ideas such as, having these players sign contracts, like 2 to 3 year deals. So, it's not transfer after transfer after transfer, so they can, really develop a culture and maybe can benefit the kid even who, might have left early and then kind of, didn't have a good relationship through the portal or whatever that may be, and, rushed a decision compared to, maybe just trusting the process of where his original decision was.
Right, yeah. I think that would be a great way to look at it, but it's not going to happen. I just don't think, unless you can formally put together a 2-year plan or a 3-year plan, it's not going to happen. You'll see some guys like the quarterback in Michigan, I think he signed a 3 or 4 year deal. That's going to happen. You're going to see quarterbacks that are going to get, a certain amount of money over, years. But I always compare it to basketball, because basketball players can leave and go to the draft in 1 year. So how can you do that? Because you got to do it for everything, right?
Yeah.
So you'd have to do it for basketball, and you can't do that for basketball because then guys couldn't come out and go to the draft in 1 year. So I make a direct correlation between those, but at the same time, you're going to need it in football because you're going to always have to replenish. You're going to have to go get guys, just like what you guys do in the NFL for free agency.
Yeah.
A guy leaves, you got to bring somebody else in. And I think it's just this evolving door that, there should be some, guidelines on, I think, and maybe potentially some 2-year deals. But I just don't see it happening anytime soon.
Yeah, there should be like a clause or like a split based on something. That's right. My whole thing. That's my whole thing with everything. When anybody has ever asked, like, are you for this? Like, I'm for guys getting paid. I like that. If I'm not a fan of people just transferring just to transfer just because they didn't. But I've always been a fan of, if it wasn't a good situation for you or whatever. But how do you dictate that? I don't know. Guidelines to some capacity. I think that you kind of hit it right on the head there. You brought up basketball. Right. So we're gonna ask you just a fun question here.
Yeah, sure.
So if you're doing a starting 5 of your squad of athletes to represent this coming year, your starting 5, who are you picking?
In basketball?
No, in
everything.
Just NIL college. You got 5 athletes.
Okay. Did I get to pick to choose from, or did I have already?
You decide whatever. However,
because I'm going to be biased because I'm going to choose my guys.
All right, pick your guys. Yeah, who's up next? You got a starting 5.
Okay, so I would say who's up next. I'm going to start off with my defensive end at Auburn. And I want to talk about this for a little bit because there's an article coming out on this. This is a really cool story. His name is C.K. Murray. He's a dog. When I tell you he's a dog, he's a dog. Came from Wichita Falls, Kansas. I'm talking they might have 6,000 people in this small town. Texas, okay? Wichita Falls, Texas. And went to TCU, was on that national championship team with, when they played Georgia. They got the onslaught happen. And he went to Sam Houston for 2 years, small school right there near Wichita. Balled out this past last year. It really came from nothing. Small town, family didn't have a lot, got a lot of siblings growing up. He went into the transfer portal with me in December this past year. It was a rough one. We had a lot of different schools that came after him. We had some schools that were saying, oh, well, he's too small and this and that. I remember I've got a good buddy of mine, Jason, who works with Auburn. And I remember texting him like 2 weeks before. I was like, hey, take a look at this guy. And I think he texted me about 2 weeks later. And they went and had CK on a visit. And they changed his entire family's life in less than 24 hours.
That's awesome.
and it was the coolest thing to be a part of. Not only for him, but for his family, and seeing him put that work in over the years and get to the SEC. Get back to where it originally started at TCU. And he was not only able to change his life, but his siblings. Didn't have that opportunity at Sam Houston and had it there. So that was my little segue on
Yeah,
that.
no, I mean,
that's really cool.
That's an
We're doing
awesome
an
story.
article on that, so I'll be sure to send that over to you all.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a really cool story. Number 2, my guy Junior Sherrill at Vandy. My wide receiver 1 at Vandy. Dog. Absolute dog.
Let's go Commodores.
Go Commodores.
Anchor down.
Big
They still say
touchdown
that?
against Alabama in that game last year.
Yeah.
And number 0, so he's a problem. And he'll be someone to watch this year. Number 2 is my running back, man. I got to go with the running back because
Let's get it. We need it.
So, and honestly, I think you might like him. His name is Antonio Martin Jr.
All right.
He was at Southeastern this past year. Went into the April window, and he is now the number 2 running back at Kansas State. So he's in purple right now. Very excited opportunity. Big back, man. Kind of reminds me of you.
I like it. I'll
Solid, just
be tuned in.
Quads, I mean, just the size of my head. I'm sure yours is the same. So, but yeah, that's my number 3. Number 4 is my linebacker at Kentucky, Landon Watson. Formerly at Marshall. Was at Marshall last year. I think he was 2nd in tackles in the Sun Belt.
There we go.
Big dude. I mean, just a monster. 6'4", outside linebacker, probably 250.
Sheesh.
He can lay the
Beast.
hammer, man. He's a big dude, big physical, guy that's gonna put the work in and play. And then I'm gonna throw a basketball guy in there. So my last guy, Amar Knox, man, really cool story. So he played at Alabama State, who made it into the tournament this year. He actually hit the game-winning shot to send them into the tournament. Ended up playing Auburn. Alabama State's not going to beat Auburn. He had 20 points in that game. He had 20 points
That's cool.
against Auburn. And he just went through the window and signed to EKU. So he's at EKU now. Super talented. Very athletic. Memphis kid. Just a baller. And we're really excited to see what he does. And he's got another year of eligibility. So he said, go do your thing, man, and we'll see what happens.
Hey, that sounds like a stack starting 5. Sound like the Monstars and Space Jam. I got this guy. He's 6'4". He's 300 pounds. He runs and does this. He's got big quads. This guy. So no, that's awesome. It's cool to see. Obviously, like I said, your passion and everything for it, but also you're working with really talented guys. So I'm excited because obviously I'm always rooting for my Boston College Eagles. But now, when there's a game on or something, I'm like, hey, let's keep this Kansas State game on. Let's just, just see what's going on there.
That's the cool part about it too, man, is being able to watch your guys. Like, prime example of one of my closest clients I have is Jordan Watkins, who got drafted by the 49ers in the 4th round this year at Ole Miss. Jay Watt's my guy. That's family. Been together for the last 3 years. I was there when they beat Georgia. I was in Oxford, stormed the field, was on the field. One of the coolest experiences I've ever been a part of. And that was a big point where I'm like, I could do this for a long time. I can do this for a very long time. Building these relationships and being around guys that just do the right thing, man, and have good character and good background and, are not going to be knuckleheads. That's what we look for, and are able to have good people skills. That's another good part of it too, because there's a lot of PR and media, and I'm sure you're very versed in that, obviously, at what you do, and that's something we look at as well. Because there's a lot of PR and media in college, especially when you're on a ranked team.
When you're rolling,
right, exactly.
So what's next for NIL Ace? Obviously, it sounds like you got the South kind of corner down here, but you're gonna make your way into Big Ten country.
I did. I had 4 guys in the Big Ten this past year.
Nice.
I had Jalen Kimber, who just signed free agent with the Titans.
Nice.
Corner for them. And then I had an interior guy at Ohio State, Tywan Malone. He'll be there this upcoming year. So look for him. really interesting athlete. Guy played baseball and football at Ole Miss in the beginning, and he's an interior defensive lineman. Okay, so think about that for a minute.
Big Poppy.
So, and he can hit a golf ball. You talk about hitting to the moon. He might miss it 3 times, but when he connects, I took him to Top Golf here in Tampa, and they're like, "We got to stop because this is going to kill somebody." But yeah, we had a few in the Big Ten.
Really, what Will's trying to ask. He's a Wisconsin man through and through. Really, he's saying, can you pick up a Badger? He wants you to pick up a Badger and add him to the roster.
I'll tell you, man, we've got some guys that I think coming out in this next cycle, they could definitely level up because we've got a lot of guys at the major level. I've got some guys at Arkansas State, UAB, BYU, some of the smaller. Well, BYU's not smaller, but some of the programs where I think guys could make that jump, to Power 5.
For sure. How do you, for our listeners, for people watching it, catching the episode this week, next week, whenever they get a chance to, or they're catching it on clips, how can people follow along with the journey? Like, I'm sure people are going to be excited as you guys are getting more clients, as these guys are getting to the league, or women are, getting their NIL deals. And it's really cool to kind of, I wish I followed, and I'm going to now, watch the NIL cycle a little bit more. It's kind of the game within the game. So how can people watch that, what you guys are doing?
So we do a podcast as well.
Okay.
Something that Lucas and I started, a couple years ago. We did it with our clients because really the vision of that was everyone knows them by their jersey. They don't know them personally. So I think that was really cool. We did a bunch of episodes with our guys last year. We're going to start when we get closer to season this year. That's a good way. You get to not only understand, us, but you get to understand them, and what they do and what they come from. And, we talk about their hobbies and things of that nature. So that's one way. We do our podcast on YouTube. Then our Instagram page, NIL Ace. We do that. A lot of media on there. We do. We're a little bit different, man. We do videos. I'm more of a video guy, more of a welcome, post. When you see graphics, we do videos. I think that's different. You can see guys performing, whatever they're doing, whether it's basketball or football, and we take highlights and put those into welcome videos. So it's kind of eye popping, and you're not just looking at like a graphic. Which I think is kind of cool. And then we do some stuff on Twitter. That's pretty much it.
I mean, makes sense. Do you have, make sure you guys go ahead and check out NIL Ace on social media and YouTube. Check out the podcast for sure. Do you have any last advice, closing remarks for the next generation of athlete entrepreneurs, or anything you guys are working on that you're looking to promote? Just kind of last shout outs or anything going on?
Yeah, I would say I kind of live by this, and this goes through the windows, whether it's the portal, whether it's getting clientele. Be patient. I think that's the biggest thing. I think patience is something that I struggled with early on because I wanted to make it. I was all about, hey, how do I make it as fast as I can? And I think as I've gotten older, I think patience has been the key. Everything happens for a reason. And if you just trust yourself and stay within yourself, you'll be all right. So
I like it.
That's great. That's great advice.
I like it, man. Well, hey, I appreciate your time. I know I'm sure we're going to be locked in. We're going to be tuned in. And I'm sure we'll be hitting you up, man, when you guys sign some more big clients, get some cool deals. Next time I'm down, it's Tampa, right?
Yeah, dude. Let's play some
Next
golf.
Next time I'm down, we got to
let's do it.
I'm trying to get to the base, though. I want to go to the base. I want to see some see some planes.
I'll make that happen. As long as you beat the Giants, we'll make that happen all the time.
I'm locked in. We got to. No, okay. I appreciate your time, man.
I appreciate y'all.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. I appreciate it, man.
Everybody make sure to check out NIL Ace, and we'll see you guys next week. Everybody have a good one.